Hi, I'm Sally, a high school teacher with a deep passion for guiding young minds. Life as a teacher is challenging but fulfilling. My days are spent juggling lesson plans, student queries, and the never-ending stack of papers to grade. When I'm not at school, I'm at home with my husband, Alex, making the most of our time together. We've been married for 3 years, and while married life has its ups and downs, one recurring challenge we face is dealing with his mother, Linda. From the moment Alex introduced me as his girlfriend, Linda has been a tough nut to crack. Her cold glances and tight-lipped smiles were my first hints, and over the years, her disapproval has only grown. It has morphed into subtle digs and backhanded compliments, especially during family gatherings where we're often together longer than I'd like. Today was one of those days, family dinner at Linda's, an event she insists on hosting once a month. The moment Alex and I stepped through her front door, the air was heavy with expectation. "Ah, Sally, that dress is interesting," Linda greeted me. The living room buzzed with the chatter of Alex's relatives, the atmosphere teetering between warm and cautiously tense, much like the relationship between Linda and me. As dinner approached, everyone settled around the large dining table, the clinking of cutlery punctuating the hum of conversation. When the dinner plates were placed on the polished wood, I felt every gaze in the room drift toward me. Linda set a distinct plate in front of me, a piece of fish with an unsettling smell. Beside me, Alex received a steaming portion of chicken, a stark contrast to mine. Hesitantly, I leaned closer to the fish, the odor growing stronger. "Linda, is there any chance I could switch to the chicken? This fish smells a bit off to me." "Sally, I made that fish especially for you, knowing you prefer lighter meals." "It's perfectly fresh," Linda replied, her tone sharp. Trying to keep the situation light, I chuckled nervously. "I really appreciate the thought, Linda, but I think it might have turned. Maybe there's some chicken left." Alex, sensing the tension, finally spoke up. "Mom, maybe Sally can just have some of my chicken." Linda shook her head, dismissing Alex with a wave of her hand. "No, she needs to eat what's been served to her." "Sally, you're being incredibly rude and ungrateful. Just eat the fish." Murmurs filled the room as relatives exchanged glances. Uncle Joe, seated across from me, tried to mediate with a forced smile. "Sally, maybe it's not as bad as you think. Just a small bite, huh?" Feeling the weight of the room's expectations, I picked up my fork and sliced a small piece of the fish. The texture felt wrong, and my heart raced as I brought it to my lips. "See everyone, she's doing the right thing," Linda commented, a sharp edge to her voice. I placed the fish in my mouth, and the taste was as bad as the smell. My face contorted involuntarily, and I struggled to swallow. Under the table, Alex reached out, placing his hand over mine, his concern palpable. Immediately, I felt my stomach churn. Excusing myself, I stood up abruptly, the chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I'm sorry, I need to step out for a moment." In the bathroom, the small bite I had taken rebelled, and I was violently sick. The sounds of my distress echoed faintly, a stark contrast to the muffled conversations outside. When I returned, pale and shaken, the room split into two. Aunt Mary, a kind soul, looked at me with sympathy. "Are you okay, dear? You look pale." But Linda's voice cut through any murmur of concern. Dramatic as always, Sally always has to make a scene. Alex stood then, his face set in a hard line. "Enough, Mom. We're leaving." The drive home was silent at first, but it was clear things had to change. This wasn't just about a dinner. It was about respect. And tonight had shown us exactly where we stood. The tension was thick as Alex gripped the steering wheel tighter than necessary. I sat beside him, my body still recovering from the ordeal, feeling every bump in the road more acutely than usual. Finally, I couldn't bear the quiet any longer. "Alex, we need to talk about what happened back there." Alex kept his eyes on the road, his voice low. "I know, Sally. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. I don't understand how your mom could think it was okay to do that to someone, let alone to me and in front of everyone." My voice cracked a bit, the hurt evident. Alex sighed deeply. "She's always been controlling, Sally. I thought she'd back down tonight if you just tried a bit of the fish. I didn't expect her to push it that far." "That's just it, Alex. It's not just about the fish. It's about respecting me. Us. Every time we let it slide, it gets worse. Where does it end?" He was quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly. "You're right. I've been too passive. It's hard for me, you know. She's my mom, but you're my wife. I should have supported you right from the start. The rest of the drive passed with us brainstorming how to handle the situation moving forward. As we parked in our driveway, Alex finally broke the contemplative silence. I'm going to call her tomorrow, Sally. It's time I set some boundaries with her. This can't go on, not if we want to have peace in our lives. I reached over, squeezing his hand. Thank you, Alex. It means a lot to hear you say that. The next day, I watched as Alex paced back and forth in our living room, phone in hand. He dialed his mother, and though I could only hear his side of the conversation, his tone was firm and resolute. Mom, we need to talk about last night. No, it's not okay. You can't treat Sally like that. Yes, she's my wife, and that should be enough for you to respect her. No, Mom, listen. We're not going to come over if things don't change. When he hung up, Alex looked drained but determined. She wasn't happy, but I think she got the message. We'll see how it goes. That conversation marked a turning point for us. Alex's commitment to standing up to his mother wasn't just about defending me, it was about respecting our partnership. It felt like a new beginning, one where mutual respect and support were non-negotiable. 2 weeks passed since the dinner incident, and we decided it was time to confront Linda directly. Alex and I agreed it was best to do it at her home, where she might feel more at ease, but also understand that we were serious. As we walked up to her doorstep, Alex squeezed my hand, a silent promise of solidarity. Linda greeted us with a cautious smile, perhaps sensing the seriousness in our approach. We sat down in her meticulously kept living room, the air tense as Alex began. Mom, we need to talk about what's been happening. The way you treated Sally at dinner the other week wasn't right. Linda's eyebrows rose and her tone turned defensive. I treated Sally just fine. She was the one making a scene over a little fish. I took a deep breath, ready to assert myself. Linda, it wasn't just about the fish. It's about how you've been treating me since Alex and I got married. I felt disrespected and unwelcome. Linda scoffed, shaking her head. This is just you being sensitive. I've always been straightforward. If you took offense, that's not my problem. Alex's voice grew firmer, a stark contrast to his usual calm demeanor. It is your problem when it affects my wife and our marriage. You need to understand, Mom, if this continues, we'll have to limit our visits. The conversation paused as Linda processed this. You're threatening me in my own house now? No, Mom, it's not a threat. It's us trying to make sure our family can be together without constant tension. We want you in our lives, but not at the cost of our peace. Just then, Aunt Marie, who had been quietly listening from the kitchen, stepped in. Linda, I've noticed how you treat Sally. Maybe it's time to reflect on that. They're right to set boundaries. Linda looked taken aback, her gaze flickering between me, Alex, and her sister. Well, I just don't see it. Alex continued, we've decided that future family gatherings will be at neutral places where everyone feels comfortable. We think it's best for everyone. Linda sat back, her features tightening as she absorbed this new reality. After a long moment, she nodded slowly. If that's what you need. As we left, Aunt Marie followed us out, whispering, You did the right thing. Things needed to be said. Driving home, the weight of the confrontation still hung over us. But there was a sense of accomplishment too. We had not only stood up for our relationship, but had begun shifting the family dynamics, hopefully for the better. Aunt Marie's unexpected support affirmed that not everyone saw things Linda's way, and that gave us hope. Months rolled by since our confrontation with Linda, and the change in our family dynamics was clear. We were on our way to the first family gathering at a local community center, a neutral ground where Linda had less control and everyone could feel more at ease. As Alex drove, I noticed the ease with which he now spoke about his mother. I never realized how stressed I was about Mom's behavior until we faced it head on. It's like I can breathe easier now. I smiled, looking out the window. I feel the same. It's been a tough journey, but I'm proud of us for how we handled it. At the gathering, the atmosphere was noticeably lighter. Relatives mingled, laughing and chatting without the usual tension in the air. Linda arrived, her demeanor subdued, and for the first time, she greeted me without a hint of disdain. Sally, I brought some of your favorite cookies, Linda said, a small olive branch that I accepted with a nod and a thank you. As we sat down for dinner, the conversation flowed more freely than it had in years. Alex's cousin Tom leaned over the table, whispering loudly enough for a few heads to turn. You two really shook things up, huh? It's a nice change. Alex laughed, a genuine sound. Yeah, it was about time. We all deserve to enjoy these gatherings, right? Driving home, Alex reached over to squeeze my hand. Today was good. I think we're moving in the right direction. I agree, I replied, feeling a sense of accomplishment. We've come a long way, not just with your mom, but with each other. Standing up for our marriage has made us stronger. Alex nodded, the streetlights flickering over his thoughtful face. It's not going to be perfect overnight, but it's a start, a good one. As we pulled into our driveway, the feeling of a fresh start was undeniable. We had not only navigated a difficult family conflict, but had come out stronger on the other side. Future gatherings would likely still have their challenges, but with our newfound strength and understanding, we felt ready to face them together, with cautious but real optimism about what lay ahead. That's the end of our story. Now, I have a question for you all. How would you handle a situation where a family member consistently disrespects you in front of others? Would you confront them or choose peace over conflict? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story insightful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.